With the reveal of Boruto's mastery over the jutsu known as Flying Thunder God, I think it's time we come to the realization that he might be the most powerful character in the history of Naruto. Well, aside from Shibai, of course. Now this isn't solely based on the fact that he has mastered instant teleportation, but also due to the feats he displayed against Unlimited Code and the new Ten Tails enemy in chapter 4. So the first section of this video, we're going to address where he scales physically in regards to his speed and strength. Then we'll get into how his new abilities makes him virtually unbeatable. Now, in order to scale Boruto's current power level, we first need to understand the mechanic behind Code's strength. This makes perfect sense since based on what we saw in chapter 3 of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, Code simply wasn't a match for base Boruto. We first saw this when Code tried a surprise attack from behind using the power of his claw marks, but Boruto was able to easily perceive his movements and dodge his attack. Not only that, Boruto was able to react to Code a second time using his sword when Code tried to attack him using his other hand. One thing to point out is that not only is this a speed feat but also a showing of physical strength since Boruto was able to hold off Code's attack with one hand. Now we should also note that Boruto wasn't using his Karma Seal and neither was Code at this time. That later changed after the effects of Rasengan Uzuhiko started to spread across Code's body, which caused him to panic. Though even after activating his Karma Seal, Code wasn't able to land a single hit on base Boruto. It didn't matter how hard he tried, he just kept moving away from him. Now this part is more so ability based since it's either due to the effects of Rasengan Uzuhiko or Boruto spamming Flying Thunder God. So we'll address that later on in the second part of this video. What we can link to Boruto's physical speed or physical prowess is when he landed his Rasengan on Code. That's because even though Boruto teleported behind him likely using Flying Thunder God, Code simply wasn't able to react to Boruto, similar to how Sage Madara was able to react to Tobirama when he tried to attack him from behind using Flying Raijin. What that proved is that even though Flying Thunder God provides you with instant teleportation, someone can still react to your activation or spawn speed if they are fast enough. And not only did Boruto stand behind Code before attacking him, Code saw him and yet he was still unable to block or dodge. This simply means that Boruto in his base form is faster than Unlimited Code using his Karma Seal. Now this doesn't mean that Boruto is physically stronger than Code since, as I pointed out in my video about Daemon, being faster doesn't equate to you being stronger. However, it's more likely that Boruto is also physically stronger rather than this just being an amp in physical speed. I say that because base Boruto in base, was able to block and easily dodge an attack from Code who had intent to kill. This means that base Boruto is at least physically stronger than base Code. In addition to that, Boruto and Kawaki are both somewhat relative in this time skip period per their battle on the Okage Monument and per shonen logic of course. So this means that Boruto's physical strength needs to scale to Ishiki levels to match Kawaki, who is likely as strong as Ishiki or stronger thanks to Ishiki giving him his Karma Seal. This increase in power is also shown by Kawaki possessing 8 triangles for Ishiki's Dojutsu as opposed to the 4 he could manifest pre-time skip. Now, Code does also possess Ishiki's Karma Seal, but it was never Otsutsukified similar to Kawaki and Boruto, which means that he can't fully channel Ishiki's true power. I said it because we can see a clear difference or increase in power or access to the power the more Otsutsuki Boruto and Kawaki became. They even showed this by them physically transforming into the Otsutsuki counterparts, thus gaining more access to the power within Karma. In fact, Boruto outright stated that he could channel Momoshiki's power better after becoming 100% Otsutsuki. So I think that there is sufficient evidence to suggest that Code, who couldn't become Otsutsukified, doesn't have access to the same levels of power Kawaki does, even though he has access to the same Karma Seal. By the way, it's outright stated by Shikamaru that Unlimited Code's power caps at somewhere above Jigen, but should still be below Ishiki Otsutsuki's. Obviously, Shikamaru wouldn't just make a baseless statement like this, so Amado likely informed him of this, as he did with the fact that Code's power exceeded Jigen. Now there seems to be some confusion around the above Jigen yet below Ishiki scaling, so let me just clarify it right here. Think of it like a scale from 1 to 10. Jigen's power caps at a 4 and Ishiki's power level caps at a 10. Now you can disagree with the gap between the two of them and make it a little bit closer, but Amado did state that if Ishiki resurrected through Kawaki, there would be no chance of defeating him. That simply means that Ishiki wasn't at full power while within Jigen's body, and you can even argue that he wasn't at full power when he resurrected using Jigen's body. That being said, let's say Jigen is a 4 and Ishiki is a 10. That means that Unlimited Code, who exceeded Jigen, would be around a 5 or 6 since he's stated to be less powerful than Ishiki. Then we have a character known as Daemon, who is also one of the cyborgs stated to have surpassed Jigen. This one is a bit more malleable since it's never directly stated that he's not Ishiki level, just that he surpassed Jigen. What we can confirm is that he's above Code, who is also above Jigen. This was shown when Daemon was able to react to all of Code's attacks. He was able to blitz him and even shown to be far superior in physical strength. Not only that, Daemon himself confirmed that he didn't go all out when he told Boruto to get stronger so that he can fight at full strength for the first time in his life. This simply means that Daemon, while holding back, is far stronger than Unlimited Code, who was going all out with the intent to kill Daemon. With that in mind, if you still think Daemon is below Ishiki, he would be around either 8 or 9 on the scale of power, as opposed to a 5 or 6 which Code occupies. So there's nothing really contradictory to both these characters being below Ishiki, yet still above Jigen at the same time. What this now does is put Boruto's earlier feats into perspective. If Boruto needs to scale to Kawaki, who is Ishiki's perfect vessel and was stated to be Holy Otsutsuki, it's likely that he scales to Ishiki levels of power or even above it. So if base Boruto is shown to be faster than Unlimited Code, who likely got stronger post time skip while he's in base, that simply means that base Boruto is faster than Code, thus scaling above Code and Jigen. Now one thing to note is that I keep pointing out that this is base Boruto, not Boruto in Karma stage 1, 2 or 3. Just Boruto in base. Now when you add Boruto using his karma seals, power increments, you get a totally different beast. We have to remember that Boruto's karma possesses the power of Fused Momoshiki, since that's the version of Momoshiki who gave Boruto the karma seal. This simply means that at its highest state, Boruto receives a Fused Momoshiki amp while using the karma seal's power. Now in order to scale this version of Momoshiki properly, we have to use his feats versus 6-path Sage Mode Naruto, and then we'll later compare Naruto's fight versus Ishiki. Now firstly, what people need to consider is that the Naruto who fought Fused Momoshiki was nowhere near full power himself. We have to remember that even before the fight began, Naruto used up a lot of his and Koruma's chakra to contain the attack at the Chunin exam stadium so that the villagers wouldn't get hurt. Yes, in 6-path Sage mode, he's using both his and Koruma's chakra even in the avatar state. This was confirmed back in Shippuden when Naruto first awakened KCM2. So after expelling that much chakra to contain the blast he could have easily countered as stated by Sasuke himself, Naruto was knocked unconscious. Momoshiki then proceeded to absorb Koruma's chakra for hours after the battle since Naruto was resisting. This added to his fatigue since, as we know, extracting a tail beast can lead to the user's death since it reduces their life force. This was made very clear since Naruto could barely stand and was barely conscious when Sasuke saved him. We also have to note that Momoshiki absorbed over half of Koruma's chakra, 50% of Koruma's remaining chakra after they tanked the attack at the stadium, which means that the Naruto who fought Fused Momoshiki was heavily fatigued, in addition to having less than 50% of Koruma's chakra. Yes, not 50%, less than 50%. Yet he was able to go toe-to-toe with Momoshiki in the anime and won their brief 1v1 tussle, while Momoshiki got absolutely demolished in the manga version of the fight. Yes, Momoshiki slammed Koruma's avatar, but that was a less than 50% Kuruma, so that means nothing to a hypothetical full power Naruto. Naruto didn't even bother using Boiler Release to amp his physical strength, and Fused Momoshiki died to a giant Rasengan given to Boruto by this weakened fatigued base Naruto. Now, you could make the argument that Fused Momoshiki wasn't at full power since base Momoshiki spammed a lot of his attacks at the stadium, and Kinshiki was also in a weakened state before they fused. So theoretically, Boruto would be able to attain higher heights if he uses Momoshiki's power at, well, full power. The only issue with the Momoshiki being weakened argument is that Momoshiki still got beaten even after healing his body using the chakra from the scientific ninja tools and consuming pills he created created using half of Kurama's remaining chakra. Now you could still argue that it didn't bring him back to full power, but there's no way to really prove that. By the way, the character is not giving Momoshiki attacks for him to absorb and make himself stronger isn't the same as a nerf or Momoshiki being weakened. He's just not able to leech off his opponent's power to get stronger than he naturally is. That would be like saying Naruto and Sasuke were weakened just because they couldn't use most of their jutsus due to Momoshiki having the ability to absorb chakra. I say all of this not to wank Naruto, but to just give a clear understanding when it comes to the difference in raw power between Ishiki and fused Momoshiki. This is shown by the fact that Jigen, who was just the vessel of Ishiki, had a way easier time beating both Naruto and Sasuke absent of the nerf Naruto had versus Momoshiki, which would be Naruto being fatigued and having less than 50% of Kurama's power, along with his own chakra being drained. Now you could also argue that Naruto also wasn't at full power versus Jigen since he was constantly having his chakra absorbed using the rods, but the issue with that is there's no way to really prove how much chakra was absorbed to even argue how much of an effect it would have on Naruto's physical capabilities. So there's no way to even argue that, nor is it consistent with the narrative. So when people talk about applying a Momoshiki amp, we're applying a less than full power Naruto amp, which is a lot by the way. Naruto was one of the strongest characters in the franchise at one point, but I've seen some talks about full power Momo being above Jigen, so I just wanted to clarify that. So based on what we've established and the narrative scaling between Boruto and full power Kawaki, full power Karma Boruto should scale to full power Ishiki or somewhat above him and Baron mode Naruto. Also, in my video about Daemon, I did use the fact that he wasn't really worried about Boruto's strength to say that Boruto is still likely below Daemon, and that was really only based on the fact that Daemon was able to sense Himawari's true power, so he should have been able to sense Boruto's true power. Now, though this might be the case, this might be true, I will say that Daemon wasn't able to sense that Boruto strongly inherited the powers of the Otsutsuki like Momoshiki did.
Now I see. It appears you have strongly inherited the powers of the Otsutsuki.
That means that we can call into question his intuition, along with the fact that Boruto seems to be actively trying to suppress Momoshiki's power by not using the Karma Seal. With that being said, let's get into the abilities. Now, starting off with Flying Raijin or Flying Thunder God, which pretty much affords the user instantaneous movement. Firstly, the jutsu itself is actually very simple to use. All the user has to do is place the seal or mark for the technique on any solid surface, and they will be able to teleport to that location no matter the distance. By the way, when I say any solid surface, I mean any solid surface. So that would be the trees, the ground, the rocks, or even a person's skin. Now, what makes it even more overpowered is the fact that the markings never disappears even after the person who placed the seal dies. And this was shown when Minato was able to use the seal he placed on Obito during the battle with the Nine Tails over 16 years later after being resurrected. Though the seal was removed by Obito becoming the Ten Tails Jinchuriki, so there is technically a way to do it. Now, it does have other uses as well, which involves teleporting individuals to a marked location without you yourself needing to travel with them, along with being able to teleport entire attacks as seen when Minato teleported the Biju Bomb fired by the Nine Tails. Another insane feat would be when Minato was able to teleport the entire Ninja Alliance during the war, and this was done by connecting his chakra to Naruto, who had given his chakra to the members of the Shinobi Alliance. Though using the jutsu to that degree does require a lot of his own chakra. Speaking of chakra, the technique itself seems to require a lot of it. This was confirmed when 3 elite Jonins could only perform the technique by using a certain formation and combining their chakras. Though this seems to be a skill issue, meaning that if you're less skilled, the jutsu takes more chakra. I said it because Minato was able to spam the technique relentlessly both prior to and after his death, and so did Tobirama. Now, you could say that they just had insane amounts of chakra, but the difference between how much they can use it in comparison to 3 elite Jonins makes that less likely. It makes more sense that skill is the main factor behind the chakra consumption. With that being said, Boruto seemingly pulled off the jutsu multiple times within the last few chapters. Firstly, when he instantly appeared stomping on Code's face, later when he teleported behind Code in chapter 3, and also when he teleported to the Ten Tails dimension. So not only is he able to teleport to different locations on the same Earth, you can also teleport to different dimensions as long as a seal is present, of course. By the way, the seal Boruto used to teleport to the Ten Tails dimension is on the leaf ornament that the Toad had in his possession. Another thing to point out is that you don't need to use hand signs when using Flying Raijin to cover short distances. This was shown multiple times by Minato throughout the original series. This also rings true for Boruto since he was able to teleport without hand signs when he did it to Code, and also when he evaded the Ten Tails entity. He only ever used the hand sign when he needed to go to and leave the dimension, despite him claiming to be less skilled in comparison to Minato. Lastly, there's also no limit to how many seals you can place. You can also use the seals created by other Flying Raijin users, well, given you know where the seals are located. Now, as I said before, Flying Raijin does provide the user with instantaneous movement, which is pretty much the fastest possible movement. Now, you're not invincible or untouchable since your activation speed or reaction speed after spawning truly decides whether or not you're truly effective with the technique. This was proven when Madara was able to dodge Tobirama when he used Flying Thunder God and tried to strike him from behind. Madara's reaction speed was simply faster than Tobirama's attack or combat speed, so Tobirama instantly teleporting behind Madara didn't really matter. I say this to clarify the popular talking point that Boruto's Flying Raijin would get faster than instantaneous movement if he uses his Karma Seal. That simply isn't the case. He would actually get a speed boost to his activation speed and combat speed post spawning, which would actually help him land hits against characters with fast reaction speeds. Though I will say that it doesn't seem like Boruto needed that since Code wasn't able to react to base Boruto using Flying Thunder God, and neither could the new enemy, but that might change later on. Now, in regards to Rasengan Uzuhiko, Boruto said that it's a Rasengan that incorporates a planet's chakra, its rotation. He then said that the power that is rushing through Code's body will never dissipate, just like how a planet will never stop spinning. This is then backed up by Damon referring to the power as planetary spin. By the way, I made a video on this that goes in depth on the inner workings of Uzuhiko, so if you want a full breakdown, you can watch that video after this one. But to summarize the explanation, you can just say that the only reason why we don't perceive the Earth's rotation is because we're coupled with the Earth's surface, thus moving at the same constant speed. Boruto found a way to remove that connection, which causes Code to feel the full effects of the Earth's rotation. This causes Code's vision to get distorted and also causes extreme cases of vertigo. In addition to that, this also causes Code to experience the Coriolis effect, which affects the motion of objects that are not anchored to the Earth's surface and move relative to it, causing them to appear to follow a curved path due to the Earth's rotation. This effect is demonstrated by these guys throwing a ball back and forth without rotating the reference frame. As you can see, the ball travels in a straight line. However, when they try to throw the ball while the frame is spinning, it constantly curves to the right. That is the Coriolis effect. So Code not being able to land a hit on Boruto after the Rasengan crawled up his hand and spread to his body was actually due to the Coriolis effect, causing Code to always curve away from his target. Or it could be that Boruto was just spamming Flying Thunder God even though he said he wasn't as skilled as Minato. Either way, the Rasengan itself is pretty busted. Now, Boruto does have other abilities such as Shadow Clones, Gentle Fist, Sealing Jutsu, Lightning Release, Thunderclap Arrow, Wind Release, Gale Palm, Water Release, Water Bullet Jutsu, and he also is skilled in Kenjutsu. Then of course you have his many Rasengans such as his Normal Rasengan, Vanishing Rasengan, Wind Star Rasengan, High Compression Rasengan, and lastly the Momoshiki inspired Rasengan. Now if you want an in-depth explanation of these abilities, you can watch my Kawaki vs Boruto video or my Boruto Uzumaki abilities explained video. With that being said, as you can see, Boruto is quite busted and he hasn't even gotten the Jogan amp as yet, which is actually insane. So with the addition of Flying Thunder God, I don't see which character could beat him in battle. Well, maybe Damon with that overpowered reflection ability, but aside from that, Boruto should be the strongest character in the verse currently. And notice that I keep saying currently, I think I said it before, and that's because we all know the strongest character in Boruto is Shibai Otsutsuki, okay? If you guys want to learn more about Shibai, that video will be linked in the end cards, or should I link the Damon video? Now I'll link the Shibai one so you guys can watch that one after this one. and I go in depth on Shibai's power level, and it actually does play a part in this as well, because Code did receive cells from Shibai, and it seems like it did amp his power to some degree. Although Amado said that he didn't need to modify him, all that story is just complete madness. We need to figure out what he meant by Code was just strong for some reason. So with that being said, we're gonna say that for another one. Let me know your thoughts on this video. Do you think Boruto is the strongest character in the history of Naruto, or am I just wanking Boruto into oblivion, you know, because I just felt like doing it today? But again, let me know your thoughts in the comment section, drop a like if you like the video, and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.